Hey everybody, Alex Hooper here from Sorare First Pitch with a big Friday show here on September 23rd. A lot to cover. I'm looking forward at some rule changes in baseball and plenty of other things, plenty of upcoming interesting tidbits that we're going to dive into. A couple of plugs before we get into it. Of course, you've seen us mentioning it on Twitter. The Sorare MLB Patreon page. You can get my projections, all my value calculations for just $10 a month. And I mean, with a month left in the season, including the playoffs, you can get it all. Again, just for $10, just to help you along. If you don't like it, cancel after that first month. And if you don't know what's going to go on in the off season, you can just wait and pick it up next season when we're back. Hopefully, we have some interesting content for you over the summer. Any breakdowns probably will be limited to the Patreon page over the off season, just to keep an edge for those who sign up. But you can get just our game week predictions or projections rather for this weekend. You can get them free. Head over to the Patreon page, patreon.com/sorarefp, and yeah, you can get those just for the weekend and try before you buy if you want. And then just get the entire month of October pretty much by subscribing after the game week. If we help you, just come on down here, download this Excel sheet, and you'll be off and running. You have a couple of hours to get those in, as we have game week lock at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, head on over to Patreon, try before you buy, and see if you like it. All right, second order of business. Our giveaway for this week. It's G-Man Choi, a limited. And the way to win was to watch the War on Vorp video and comment "Thanks Xenophanes" underneath. You had to thank him specifically. We'll be looking for thanks in the comments, and let's give that away right now. Here's how you get the G-Man Choi limited card. Of course, Xenophanes did not have to say Xenophanes. He just had to say thanks me, so he could win this as well. All right, let's pick a winner. Stingray didn't say thanks Xenophanes. This is what I was worried about. Sorry, Stingray. You said thanks for breaking it all down, but didn't thank Xenophanes. Let's pick another one. How random could it be? All right, Doc 1806. Send me a message either on Twitter, find me on Discord, comment on this video with your Sorare name. You are the winner of the G-Man Choi giveaway, Doc 1806, and you spelled it right. So good deal. Reach out to me that way. I will also tweet this once I'm done with the video, so you can hopefully see it there on Twitter. Congratulations. Got a big giveaway coming up at the end of the show. Big giveaway at the end of the show. And if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're already qualified. You're going to have to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the official Sorare First Pitch YouTube channel. That's how you enter to win this all-star giveaway at the end of the show. All right, what's the next order of business? Congrats, Doc. All right, I got some rewards to look at real quick. We'll do a quick hold or sell. They're not incredible rewards, so we'll probably be holding, but let's take a look at that. All right, got a tier 4 comment. Again, the comment team is trash. Hopefully we get a little better. Chris Bubich, that's my guess. Zach Greinke, the OG, love him. Not going to help me much, but glad to see him. All right, tier 5 limited. Should have done much better than this. Relief pitcher probably. Yes, of course. Erasmo Ramirez, great. I'm just gonna go ahead and Google this, or look in my spreadsheet really quick for Erasmo. All right, he's going for a cool 0.1. We're holding him. All right, rare all-star, 50th place finish again. I was in a T2 territory going into bedtime, and we wound up at tier 3. What do we got? Okay. Chuck. Wow. Okay. I actually have him projected really well. I could get something nice for him. I mean, he's a big time valuable pitcher, but that's a solid T3. I'm happy with that. So we shall check the value. We'll go to the handy dandy spreadsheet. Starting pitcher rest of season. Scroll up here so we can actually get. Actually, we gotta drag this down a little bit, huh? Get the rest of our values. Okay. Now go back to it. Hide this. So rest of season. Let's sort by points. Robbie Ray going for real cheap. Is that real life? All right, Charlie Morton, 0.018. So yeah, I could trade him in and go up and get a Robbie Ray, and I just might do that, honestly. But playoff utility with either one of them. But if you see here, I mean, double the value. Is that true? I gotta look into this because I'm not so sure that Robbie Ray is actually going for that price. Head over to Sorare data. Robbie Ray. Yeah, 0.0387. I don't know where that number came from, but that's much different. I'm gonna have to check the spreadsheet for that. That's much higher. So yeah, Charlie Morton then in that case, I mean, he's the most valuable guy I could realistically find there. Jose Barrios is about the same amount of value, pretty much projected the same. Let's take a look at next season with Zips then, because that might be where we find some value here. Because Charlie Morton's aging. All right, 566. So we're still looking at 0.08. So we could get a Logan Webb or a Tarek Skubal, Luis Garcia, Gossman already have. Maley's great. Rodriguez and Rogers rank better. Marquez, Freddie Peralta would be a nice get. Jose Barrios at 0.02. Lucas Giolito all the way up here. I could get another Lucas Giolito for that price. So yeah, maybe we'll sell him, but I think he has some utility for us this week. We could look at the projections and see, but you'll have to find that on the Patreon. I'm not gonna give that away just now. One last thing, hold or sell. I got some trade offers, and I'm not really used to this. And let's take a look at some. So I'll head over to my trades. Hopefully they're still on the board. This is the one that I'm really interested in. All right, NJM. 0.027 for Brian Reynolds, who he is projecting well this week. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's see, 0.027. Let's see how it relates. We want Brian Reynolds. We're going to sort this for one. We're going to sort it by most points rest of the season. Brian Reynolds, 25th. So 0.026. So that's a fair trade for what he's been going for. A little bit of an overpay. Which, I mean, you want to do on a trade if you really want someone. But so there's no one really in this range that's going to help me. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Take a look at the Zips real quick as well. Ryan Reynolds right there. 0.26. Brandon, wow. Kick rocks, Brandon. Jonathan India. Already got a Jorge Polanco. So yeah, I mean, maybe I could go do a straight swap for India. And get a little bit of value, move up the ranks here. I might do that. Not terribly convincing. I think that's something that I'll probably sit on based on projections. I'm going to take a look at those projections right quick. Yeah, Brian Reynolds is my second highest projected rare, so I'm probably going to use him this week. So, and JM, I appreciate the offer. I think it's a solid offer, but I don't think I'm going to take it just yet. Maybe we'll see going forward. All right, so the other one, though, was this Mike Yastrzemski offer. 0.055 for Yaz. I actually played him this week, had a 61, and still didn't win anything in Super Rare. So, yeah, a nice week in Colorado. 0.055. What did I buy him for? That's the question. 0.04. So, you know, I'm making I'm making a little bit on that. So let's head back over to the spreadsheet. Here's my projections for this week on my team. So let's go rest of season. We're going to find Yaz. So 80 points rest of season. 0.035 was the last couple of days sale for him. So what we're going to do here is we're going to sort by the last 3 days sale of the super rares. These guys have not had sales in the last 3 days. So we're going to go all the way down here to the 0.033 with Yaz. Okay, so right off the bat, Patrick Wisdom projected for the same amount of points rest of the season. You know, I'm looking around this area. Who can I get for cheaper? Nelson Cruz, Max Kepler, I already have him as a super rare, honestly. So scope, whatever. So the thing here is if I'm getting 0.55 for him, I can move all the way up. Will Smith, there's one for you, 0.051. It's not a guarantee that I get any of these guys, by the way. Because the so rare market or the super rare market is so much less liquid, and just because something went for a certain price doesn't mean you're going to get them. The other thing to consider here is I have 0.0406 Ethereum in the bank currently. So all of a sudden now I want to look at 0.09. What can 0.09 get me? Still about the same, 88, 86. Hey, Eugenio Suarez, not bad. I don't know what his future looks like. Kutch. So Will Smith looks like the best offer, even as I go up here. Josh Bell. Now we're really hiking in price. Jake Cronenworth is a guy I would love to get. So yeah, so I'll probably sell him just because I'm getting something for him. Let's look over here now at the Zips projections, because then maybe I can get something here. Again, we're looking for Yastrzemski. All right, there he is. Only 820 next year. So what I want to look for someone who's highlighted down here. Anyone? No one? I see some Nick Solaks for way cheaper. But let's go up to the 9 area and see. Luis Arias. I could afford him technically. Joey Gallo could afford him technically. Jared Walsh, Yohan Moncada. See, now we're upgrading at the position. So this is why you would want to sell. And I think I will. He's very highly projected for this week. But I don't particularly care because I don't think I have a great chance of winning. So Cision. Accepted. Accepted. All right. Fantastic. So yeah. So I got another one for Nick Gordon. Let's take a look at that really quick. Hello, I'm very dark. Head over to the spreadsheet again. Do the same sort of thing. We're going to go ahead and look for Nick Gordon. We're looking for rare here. So 0.023, all of a sudden, we're seeing he's under. You can find all of this info on Sorare data for what it's worth. You could probably find something a little more accurate, honestly. I'm going to do that, actually. So look at this price here. Went for 0.23. Last one for 0.16. So, I mean, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. This is me. This line is where I have them currently offered. Do I want to do it? So what can I find for 0.18? Or, I mean, alternatively, too, I can take that and just continue to move up my super rare, which is probably what I'm going to do. Nick Gordon's only projected for 510 points next year. I think that'll change when Zips is updated, but so I mean, honestly, without looking at the spreadsheet, I think it's a good deal. And I don't feel like I need him going forward. So I'm actually going to just accept that. And move on with my life. I'm just going to take the Ethereum and I'm going to move on. So there you go. Brian Reynolds, I'll still wait on that one. So that's that. So yeah, another way to just look at trades. I've been doing it with rewards. I think with trades, it's pretty helpful. So there you go. All of a sudden, I got some Ethereum. We're liquid, baby. Let's see what kind of super rares we can get. I'm gonna go shopping a little later. Okay. So the next thing we wanted to do was take a look at some rule changes. You might have heard coming to Major League Baseball. The pitch clock is going to hopefully speed up games, but also what it's going to do is take away the amount of pickoffs. You can get 2 disengagements from the rubber as a pitcher per at bat. So that's how you reset the pitch clock. But once you throw over to first twice, the runner on first is going to know that you don't have another pickoff move unless you can throw it over. The third pickoff, if it is successful, is a normal pickoff. And I don't know how that works. I don't know if, we throw it over and you get into a rundown, whether that counts as successful, if the player gets back to the base or what. Then he just becomes a balk. It becomes a balk on the third one. If you throw over a third time and you don't get him, it's a balk. So the guy's going to move up. But what we have seen is a pretty steep rise in stolen base attempts among minor league baseball, where this has already been implemented. So in the minors, you're seeing now 1.11 stolen base attempts per game. So the major league average by team is 0.68 attempts per game. That's a 61% increase. Say blanket across the league, the average goes up by the exact same amount as the minor leagues. That's a 61% increase. The success rate is 77%, which I believe is also pretty high. But one of the differences is that you're going to see better base stealers. You're going to see better base stealers at the major league level. I mean, base running is something that goes into a lot of major league players being promoted. And so this might actually be a higher number. So what I wanted to do was take a look and see how that would affect projections for next season. So we're going to go over to the sandbox here. And what I did was I took projected stolen bases, I multiplied it by 1.61 and got a new projected stolen base number. Now, this is, again, just assuming that everybody sees a 61% increase in their stolen bases. That's not going to happen. One, because guys like Vlad Guerrero Jr., who is running this year, perhaps he's a bad example. Pete Alonso, probably not going to run more. Not necessarily more advantageous for him to steal. He might get a better jump and get 3 more stolen bases, but that's a little harder to predict. But we're just going with what we know. We're going with a 61% increase on the average, and that leads us to 1.61. Or 61% or an additional 61% of projected stolen bases. This will be factored into Zips, I'm sure, eventually. I don't think it is now, so that's where we wound up with the number. So then I took the 77% success rate of the difference here and added it to the new projection of points. And I actually have to go back to Zips and reorganize it because it's throwing off my rank number. Pardon our dust. All right. Set all the way back over. All right, now these ranks are accurate. So what you'll see is the difference you'll see right here in the Y column is the difference in points that a hypothetical 61% jump would make for each player. This is just points over the course of the season. So 68-point increase over the course of 162 games may not make or break a game week for you. But we know that stolen bases are worth 5 points. They're a little more predictable than other things. And you can count on this difference. I mean, it also, and what I didn't factor in is, what it does to the heightened chance of RBIs for the hitter at the time, what it does for the heightened chance of your runs scored if you move into scoring position, stuff like that. So this is probably actually going to be higher projection wise, but we're just taking the stolen bases, and it's already something that separates the good players from the great players in fantasy baseball. So now if we're adding them, it's going to make a lot of guys much more important. You see the first one right here. You're not going to be surprised to see the guys who already steal, especially based on the math. You're going to see the guys who already steal jump up in the rankings because they're going to steal more, probably even more than the percentage that I used even indicates. So that's going to make guys like Trey Turner more valuable. He steals a lot of bases. He's going to steal more bases. He's going to have more success because if a guy throws over twice and Trey Turner's on the bag and all of a sudden he knows that the pitcher can't throw over, he's going to be running. Obviously, the pitcher can pitch out. We'll see a comeback with a pitch out, probably. It's been gone from baseball for a while. Another stolen base guy right down here, Tommy Edman, up 13 spots, the 25th ranked player. If this is to occur, he jumps up from the 38th spot with a 58-point difference. So all of a sudden, you're making up big margins in here. Almost 1,100 points projected up to 11.5. And if you see all the guys in between there, you see where that jump happens. Bobby Witt, 14-point jump. Whit Merrifield, it'll depend on playing time, but a 13 rank jump. 16 for Akil Baddoo, who already is super cheap relative to his projected value. 20% or 20 rank jump for Starling Marte. 23 for Miles Straw. The further you go down, the more jumbled these projected points will be, the less of the curve. Less steepness of the curve, rather. So they're going to naturally pass more people. 78 rank jump. Adalberto Mondesi all of a sudden becomes a very viable player. Another guy who I'd love to see, John Birdie. All right, so only 25 points and 38 ranks jumped for good old John. I think that'll change. Is he really only projected to have 11 stolen bases next year? He stole 11 bases in about 4 games this season. So guys like that. So consider that when you're looking at players this offseason, down the stretch here. Consider what the difference in stolen bases might make. It could be higher than the number I used. It could be lesser. But I just wanted to show you the severity of some of these jumps. I mean, Trey Turner all of a sudden is jumping guys like Matt Olson and Yordan Alvarez. Like, who would have thought that? Guys who just absolutely rake, all of a sudden a guy like Trey Turner who rakes and runs is going to be more valuable. Not to mention, he actually jumps Ozzie Albies, who I believe, was more valuable at the middle infield position than Trey Turner. So that changes everything. So here's a little visualizer on how that kind of goes. Show you some of the rank differences. Who jumped the most? 929, huh? That can't be right. Because now it's saying he ranks 2 because I sorted it. Regardless, here, how about this? Let's look at everyone who jumps 30 or more spots. Mondesi, okay. David Hamilton, whoever he is our leader. All right, new leader, Brian Miller, whoever he is. Andrew Velasquez goes up 60. 93 for Lucius Fox. So yeah, you see some of these speed guys, they're really going to jump. Delvin Zinn, never heard of him. Guys like that are going to be the ones who jump here. Guys, especially towards the bottom again, as that curve kind of flattens out, and they're going to be jumping more people because they're going to get a bigger boost. A lot of those guys are prospects that are projected, to by Zips, they're going to be projected to start more games than they probably will. So don't take these numbers for gospel. But again, just a visualization on how things might change. The other thing, the shift, the banning of the shift, essentially, players have to have at least 1 foot, I believe, or 2 feet Can't have any more than that. I don't know if it's 1 or 2, but regardless, can't go much further either way. On the infield dirt, and you have to have 2 players on both sides of second base. So obviously that's going to take away some defense against certain players who are shifted against quite a bit. What they saw at the minor league level was only a 0.003 increase in batting average on balls in play. So very, very minor across the league. That doesn't necessarily account for some of the guys who have massive shift numbers against them. And let's take a look at that really quick. You can see it on Baseball Savant and kind of see who this might apply to a little more than others. Carlos Santana, the most shifted against player in the league. 98.5% of his at-bats are shifted. And you can see here, he has a 291 WOBA against the shift and a 177 WOBA in a whole 5 plate appearances against non-shifts. So you're not going to be able to deduce a lot from the sample size over here. Corey Seager, actually, 47 is about as good number or sample size as you're going to see here, and you see quite a big jump there. So I wouldn't just apply the 0.003 to every player. I wouldn't just say that's a blanket, but you have to be very mindful of sample size here. Can I shift by plate appearance? Okay. So let's find someone who's about in the middle. All right, Austin Riley. 353 against the shift, 405 against the non-shift. And the sample size is actually bigger for the higher number there. Adolis Garcia, big drop-off against the non-shift. Again, not a whole lot of actionable data. Pete Alonso, you see a pretty nice increase. Sean Murphy, it's a decrease. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, on average, the changes aren't huge. Gleyber Torres, slight increase. But there's a lot of intangible factors that aren't taken into account here. Approach by the hitter. Guys like Jose Ramirez can all of a sudden start trying to pull again without the worry of grounding out into the shift. Joey Gallo all of a sudden might become a viable player again because he doesn't have to worry about grounding out constantly. He's still going to be like a 220 hitter, but without the worry about rolling over, he can just try even harder to put all of that massive frame into his swing and knock the ball into, I was going to say Queens, but I don't know anything around Los Angeles. So I think the approach changes, and you can start to factor that in. I wouldn't go gangbusters on trying to find players who are shifted against a ton, but Joey Gallo is already really undervalued on the platform, and I think he becomes more so. Jose Ramirez, guys like that, complete hitter who knows how to see a defense and knows how to approach a pitcher. Like, there are going to be a lot of intangible factors that you can't really find within the data. We're going to have to see really the guys who start to benefit. But again, the sample size is going to take the entirety of next year to really give you actionable data against the shift and, without it. So don't go crazy there. I would seek out stolen bases. Guys like John Birdie, now that I have all this Ethereum, I might go try to find him. All right. So that's that. Let's talk about our big giveaway that I've been teasing, because I'm going to pretend that I already had him pulled up. But when in reality, I'm just clicking through here and trying to find him. Seeing behind the curtain here. Where you at, pal? This is a tease. If I've ever seen a good tease, this is it. All right. Y'all ready? Here's our giveaway. Kyle Schwarber. He's a 40 home run guy. Tell me you don't want that on your team. How do you get him? You follow us. You follow Sorare First Pitch. You subscribe here on YouTube. That's it. That's all you got to do. Tell your friends. I wish I could give y'all a referral bonus and an extra entry for everyone you recommend to subscribe to the page. If I can, I will. So maybe try it. Might pay off in the end. But ultimately, Subscribe to the page, the new page, this one, Sorare First Pitch. And you get a shot at Kyle Schwarber, man. Pretty good. Pretty good. Playoff utility. Again, 40 homers. A guy who's really coming into his own. Great lineup behind him. Number one hitter. More opportunities at the plate. Why wouldn't you want him? Like, subscribe, all of that. But most importantly, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. That's how you win that Kyle Schwarber. And we'll give him away next Friday. Right here. Sorare First Pitch.